let me tell you a story. So the last girl that girls don't really be asking me for money. I usually, that doesn't really happen to me too often. But the last person that asked me for money, the response was me blocking their number.
Can I ask you
how much she asked for?
Yeah. How did they ask and what did they ask for?
She asked me, she was moving apartments, whatever, and she needed like rent or like first month rent, security deposits, whatever.
Okay.
And she asked me in person, and I kind of like.
How much was it?
It was probably like 2,000, 2,100, something like that. She asked me in person, and I kind of ignored. I ignored the request.
Then this is like somebody you knew casually. This is like your baby.
No. This is just a casual vibe. This was
Slouts can't ask for no money,
and this was previous. This etiquette how to go about this, but and then the second time, the next day, she was like, "Hey, just wanted to remind you, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if you could send that money, I greatly appreciate it." And I was so disturbed by the way that she went about it that I never actually took the time to respond. I blocked her number.
Now, here's my question then to both of you. This woman was moving apartments. This was a valid expense. She felt comfortable in asking you. So there was some sort of rapport, some sort of relationship, whether you felt that way or not. Well, then it's not like she was asking for a bag or something minute either. What would be an appropriate way for a woman to ask money from a man that she knows has it?
So
without getting blocked.
Right, for sure. Let me say one thing. She had actually asked a few different times for a few different other things, so it wasn't the first time. But here's how I would go about it if I was in the shoes, because there's a difference between somebody that you're in a relationship with and somebody that you just on the vibe with. If you're on the vibe, I don't owe you anything, right? So I'm not obligated to give you money. No.
What's wrong with that? Don't owe anything.
I ain't gonna hold you. If you could ask me for coochie on a Tuesday,
I'm not asking them. I'm not asking.
They're giving it.
I'm just saying, if this is an exchange, like, and maybe this is where women go wrong. I don't feel like I would be comfortable dealing with a man that wouldn't be able to help me out if I asked for it, especially if I knew they had it.
Here's the thing.
But that's a good boundary to have if you want to have it.
But sex for money is prostitution. So just because you make a decision to have intercourse with a person, that doesn't mean that said other person has an obligation to pay you.
There's no obligation, but again, there's a relationship. She also wasn't asking transactionally. It's not like she asked you to leave it on the nightstand after you guys just had sex. She was asking because there was a relationship built. So that's where I guess my issue comes right now with the narrative of prostitution and dealing with somebody who has it, who should be able to look out if you need something.
Well, here's the thing. So
difference in those relationships.
Here's a better way how to go about it, right? Like, hey, I'm in the process of moving. Do you think you can help out? Is
that not how she asked it?
No, she said, I need $2,100.
$100. Like immediate file. No. And the crazy part, when people get to asking for this money, and Mandii, I know you have it happen to you too. They don't never have no small requests. There's no $200.
I'm not gonna lie. In my 20s, I was a cheap bitch for a little bit. Like, but then I did, like, as I went up, I was like, oh, I'm never asking a man for less than $500. I think as a woman, if you ask for less than $500, you are really down bad.
But May, let me give you some game. Let me give all the women some game out here. If you have to ask a man for money, you're already in trouble.
Big facts.
Because if a dude really rocking with you,
he gonna give it.
And he really is into you like that. You don't have to ask him for money. He's going to be doing things for you because he notices that you're in need, or he wants to have a level of security for you. If you're in a situation where he's never done anything for you, and you're forced to ask him for money, it's not the person that you should even be asking for money, because that person is he's not that into you.
And it's the difference between if your baby asks you for some money, like, baby, you can get it. The play thing, it's a bad investment.
I ain't gonna hold
Apple 172, you know what I mean?
The play thing better be able to ask. I think that I mean,
nah,
shit.
No, you can't call into the conference call if you the play thing.
Don't
you lucky to get to Zoom. What? I just really started going out on dates.
So how do you feel about what I just explained as far as if you have to ask somebody for money, you're already down bad in the situation?
I mean, again, I know, and I've dealt with so many men that were more of the closed mouths don't get, fed method. I dealt with men that, especially because I wasn't their primary, that it was like, hey, let me know what you need, and they're there to help me when I need. But other than that, it's not on, like, it was never transactional.
When you say you wasn't their primary, what does that mean?
Like they were married. So like, to me, I've never dealt with.
We're not gonna. Hey, you was on my ass about asking the motherfucker for a flight.
Oh
no!
Let's not just graze over this.
Yeah,
no.
Multiple. You said they were married, so that's multiple people, right? So yeah. you have multiple relationships with married men, right?
I don't like how you are starting this. This was in my past, yes.
Gotcha.
What's the psychology? I'm always curious. What's the psychology of knowing that you're a side chick?
She caught her 2 Sims. That's what it was.
But do you pursue it?
No,
do you know that they're married, or do they tell you later? How's that work out?
I mean, they all were different dynamics.
Oh, you're good. You're so good. That podcast and voice, Shadi, you hear the dynamic was different from each of them. You ain't gonna run no relationships, okay?
No. This was in my 20s.
Okay.
So I mean, one was African, so of course I knew he had a wife. They all do.
Shout out to my Nigerians.
Shout out to the pros in Ghana, man.
Yeah, all of them have wives. If you meet an African in America, their wife is just back home.
Damn.
Okay.
And then another one I met actually while he was engaged. And because I knew he was getting married, like I didn't have sex with him for probably the first year, and we grew a friendship, and then his money grew, and then he had me on payroll for about 2 years.
Okay, I gotta ask for the ladies, how you set up the payroll play? You was on actual payroll?
Yes. So
how you get this off? Hold on.
He was very, very high in
an industry.
Mm-hmm. He was very, very high, and he employed and set up all the independent contractors. So he had me as a fake employee on payroll. So even though I wasn't really anywhere active, I got my check every 2 weeks. And this was while I was in college.
And your job was to just be his side chick?
I mean, yeah, and I maybe saw him like once a quarter.
Once a quarter?
Yeah. Or like when he came into town, but we didn't see each other often. I mean, I still know him to this day, really good friend of mine. We don't have that relationship anymore, but like we really had a friendship.
Did you feel comfortable in the role of a side chick?
I mean, when I was in my 20s, not wanting kids, not wanting marriage, literally trying to survive and literally putting myself through school, it worked for me. I wasn't in the space to be fully questioned on what I did, and he didn't fully provide for me. So while I still had to work and juggle other friends,
other investments, right?
Investment strategy.
Yeah, I mean, to me, again, in your 20s, that makes sense. I know some girls in their 30s still doing it. It's whatever makes sense for you. I mean, those types of relationship dynamics, it's weird because I felt more comfortable in at least knowing what my role is in comparison to maybe a wife that maybe didn't know the person they were truly married to. Yeah. So at the time, it worked for me. Would I willingly engage into that type of relationship present day? Not really, unless they're like really rich, like Floyd. I wouldn't mind being a part of a harem or something, but I'm not interested in like just being a side chick to a nigga for a couple thousand. No.